What's up, guys? Zeus here back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ripper buffs slash practical just rework entirely because it's practically what this is. And I'm also going to be more so talking just about, feelings of the rework and whatnot, and how I think it'll actually affect the boy. Especially coming from a person that used to play Ripper back in the day when I was still a hunter main. So Ripper, he's one of my, he's a generic, but he's one of my fave the hunters in the game. So we're gonna just go quickly. We're gonna run through Ripper's rework, and obviously, I have the wiki open so that way then, we can compare and contrast what they added, because as you can see, they added a lot. So let's get started. So external trait fog, condensed fog. Every once in a while, the Ripper accumulates fog on his bladed hand. Once enough fog has gathered, he can unleash a fog blade that travels in a straight line for a period of time during an attack or a freezing fog attack. Charging 1 unit of fog takes 9 seconds with a maximum of 2 units. If there's less than 1 unit of fog, no fog blades can be produced. And if we just compare that to this, freezing fog. Every once in a while, the Ripper's attack will trigger a flying fog blade. Fog blade will leave fog in his path. Survivors hit with fog will blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so obviously lots of changes there. We have a whole new mechanic, freezing fog attack. That's a whole new thing. Fog blade. The type of strength of the fog blade depends on the attack used. Charge attacks, however, will not release any fog blades. This is huge because that means now he doesn't get countered by Fire Investigator. That just feels like specifically for Fire Investigator. Now you don't gotta worry about breaking the balls while burning a foggy, which is good. Normal attacks produce large fog blades, consuming 2 units of fog and dealing damage equivalent to a full normal attack. Freezing fog attacks produce small fog blades, consuming 1 unit of fog and dealing damage equal to half of a normal attack. So the freezing fog is a chip hit, and then the normal fog is normal fog. That's practically it, along with the fact that now, charge attacks don't actually make him burn his fog blade, which is good. Very nice. There's actually now incentive to use charge attacks now for mind games or whatnot. It's not aimless and whatnot. External trait, fog. Fog blades leave a trail of fog in their wake, and survivors hit by any fog blade will also leave a fog trail as they move. Additionally, when survivors are knocked down and tied to a rocket chair by the Ripper, a patch of fog will appear at their location for 12 seconds within the fog. The Ripper's movement speed is increased, and the cooldown of the hidden mist is reduced by 75%. Wait, did they add that? Movement speed and hidden... No, no, no. Okay, that's always been the thing. Okay, that's always there. Ability. Freezing fog. This is new. This is completely new. This is the Ripper's quicker, more nimble attack. Compared to normal attacks, freezing fog attacks are faster but deal less damage. When the Ripper has at least 1 unit of fog, using a freezing fog attack consumes 1 unit of fog to generate a small fog blade, dealing damage equivalent to half of a normal attack, which is a completely new thing. And then hidden shadows. Ripper enters the hidden mist more quickly. Within fog, the cooldown of the hidden mist is reduced by 90%. And I don't think this was actually specified on the wiki, but I'm assuming the numbers are the same. Yeah. So now that we've gone over, I made a tweet saying how I wasn't really that big of a fan of the buff, or not even of the rework. And I think maybe I'm not a fan of the rework because they haven't specified how it's actually gonna look in game. And when I say look in game, I'm mainly talking about these two parts, the freezing fog and then the part of the external trade. It's these two parts of his kit that I'm kind of like on the fence about, depending on how it works in game. So my thing is that they're saying, it's going to be charging 1 unit of fog every 9 seconds, right? And then, one usage of the fog unit is going to be a faster, more nimble version of the standard fog blade. Now, this sounds good because obviously that means, in theory, you have small foggy, you hit it, it's faster, that means it's harder for the survivor to dodge, you get the hit, now you catch up, you get your normal hit, and then after you're out of attack recovery, 9 seconds has passed, you have another freezing fog that you can then chuck at the survivor again. And in theory, it takes 2 seconds less than normal. Because if you just hit two foggies, then it's like a 20. It's like it takes 40 seconds. But if you do freezing fog, normal hit, freezing fog, it's only 38 seconds, which is a 2 second difference, which is not that good, but it's like it's not that big of a difference. But that's still 2 seconds faster on a down, all in concept. But the other thing is just a matter of it's a matter of how it's gonna be displayed. Because when they're saying freezing fog, right? I'm thinking of there's gonna be a way to control whether or not you can actually use freezing fog or the condensed fog. That's what I'm concerned about. Because if it's not controllable where you can be like, okay, I want to only use one fog unit here compared to two fog units here, then that's where kind of my concern lies. Because if so, there's no real control with the foggies, which is what I think would be, which is what I would want if there was control with the fog blades. Like if you had two units of fog and you can choose that you only want to use one, that I would say would be good. But I think it's because they haven't specified that if that is how it's gonna work, which is where my concern lies. Because for me, like this buff kind of feels like you just get your foggy every 9 seconds at the trade-off of, it's only a chip, so you need to hit four foggies, which is, still about the same time as you just having regular two foggies for 40 seconds instead of four smaller foggies for 36. That's kind of like my only thing. Um, it's like it really just comes down to it really just comes down to how it's actually put in game. Like him being chip is not the worst thing ever, because like him being a chip means that now survivors can't heal properly to an extent. So like in theory, like think of it like a gamekeeper, how he kind of snowballs off of how having just survivors at chip hits can work. But in the same vein, it's like if you land the foggy without the survivor forcing a basic, then you still get the down anyway, you know? Because they're still getting hit from it, like, and you're still going to be able to do your normal hit anyway. So it's like it really just depends on that control aspect, the way I see it. The one thing I will say that I like is obviously the movement speed increased. The Ripper's movement speed is increased when I'm pretty sure this is near a chair. Yeah, when the survivors are knocked down and tied to a rocket chair, a patch of fog will appear location within the fog. Ripper, blah blah blah. Like this is already a thing. Like it's already. I'm pretty sure it's already here. Yeah, when the survivors, yeah, rocket chair. Like this. So this in tandem with the fact that the fog moves faster for chip, it can be definitely good for pressuring survivors. But if you can't control how much you want to use for injury, then it kind of concerns me. Because, say someone's coming for rescue, if you can't select that you only want to use one fog unit, then you have to burn your foggy anyway on the rescuer when swinging. Or you have to try and charge attack, but if you're charge attacking, that makes it easier for the survivor to react to your swing, and trying to mind game you or something could maybe get you to hit the chair. Like, it's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance to this with how vague the kit is. And it really does determine on whether you can control the type of foggy that you're going to use. Like, if you want to use freezing or condensed, which is my main thing. Like, this is still good. Ugh. Oh, my jaw just popped. This is good. Like, this is still a good buff. Like, finally, like, he's actually getting something. But, like, they're maximizing his chase, which is fine. But I feel like they probably could have done more. Like, what could they have done more with him? I don't know. Like, I don't maybe increase, like, if he's gonna have freezing fog, instead of it being 2 units, make it three. Like three units of fog, so a survivor has to worry about two fog blades, one chip, one normal, and that it can stack. Like, I think that would be fine-ish. It would probably be like cancerous at a point, like having to deal with that, but it would be fine like later and like early game wise, since all he has is the two. Or maybe his full presence would give him like an extra unit of fog, the same way Nightwatch gets an extra gauge of wind, an extra unit of wind when he hits full presence. At full presence, he gets a third unit of fog. So that way, then he has now technically he can launch two foggies back to back, one normal and one freezing. Um, I'm assuming also that because this is saying it takes 9 seconds, I'm assuming that that means normal fog blade is now the condensed fog blade is gonna be only an 18-second cooldown and not a 20. Because if we we just look back right here, like the freezing fog, 20-second cooldown, you know. They separated this, which is good as well. So now it's condensed and freezing, which is nice. So that way you don't get confused. I don't know how I don't know. Like I really don't know how to feel about this buff because of how vague it kind of is worded with how little control you might be able to have with it. Because like Night Watch, you can use a stack on anything. Like you have an easy way to gain it back with your wind charges, and then you can use the wind charge in any shape or form. Like either it's gonna be for dash or for the speed boost, and that's it. You can use it either or. There's some level of control. With this, I don't know if there's gonna be a way to turn on and off, whether you want freezing or condensed. And if there isn't, it kind of makes the buff counterintuitive because then that means you only have a 9 second period to use freezing fog if you even so want to use freezing fog, or you just always are going to be stuck using regular condensed fog, and it kind of defeats the purpose of freezing fog to be like a secondary pressure tool to play off injury, because let's say you hit a rescuer with freezing fog, you know now they're one chip, which means now if they come back in for another rescuer or another rescue, it's going to be an easy scuff because when they get healed, then you can hit them with normal fog into a normal hit and they'll go down instantly. Or if you want to double down, freezing fog into normal hit, and it still gives you a resource to work with. But there has to be that level of control. Like there is ways for you to make it work, but if there's no level of control, then it's kind of defeats the entire purpose of the buff. So I am really on the fence of this. I just hope, maybe this is just me, like, thinking of the worst and whatnot. Like, I'm always looking, like, anytime character adjustments or whatnot come out, I always look for counterplay first before I look at what the character can excel at. Because more often than not, you can excel at one thing, but it doesn't matter how well you can excel in that one thing if you can't even get to the thing that you're excelling at. Violinist has great camp with full presence, but he can hardly even get to full presence because of how easy he is to kite and how easy it is to work around him. It's the reason why he's like arguably like the worst hunter in the game now. Like Ripper is now 100% better than Violinist. Like I will say that. But like it's that kind of logic where it's like if you like it doesn't matter what you excel at if you can't even get to what you excel at because you suck everywhere else. That's why for me when characters come out the first thing I look at is there any kind of counterplay, is there something to exploit, is there anything that can be used against this hunter, so that way then they can't even excel at what they want to excel at. So and I know people look at that and be like, oh, you're so negative, look at the positive. Like, no brother, no brother. I look for counterplay. I look for what I can do as a player, so that way then I don't fucking scream and shout and let it all out every time this fucker does something to me. Unless there is genuinely no counterplay with some of these hunters that they have been releasing, like in context, like in comparison, kind of shit. That's why for me, it's always look for counterplay. Look for counterplay, look for counterplays. There's some kind of counterplay, yes, there is. And there's something. For Ripper, it doesn't feel like there's quote unquote counterplay. It's more like his kit just works against itself if it doesn't work the way I think it's gonna work. Cause if so, like half of this buff is fucking pointless. He's practically the same character. I'm so serious. If you can't control whether you want to use freezing or condensed, it's like the buff didn't even happen. It's literally as if like nothing changed. I'm so serious. It's like nothing changed if you can't control freezing and condensed. Yeah. Uh. Those are just, my thoughts on the Ripper adjustment slash rework slash buff, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments below. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions on it. I know for me, I'm kind of on the fence, but I obviously, I want to wait before I make anything definitive on him. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch y'all in the next one. I'm Zeus, and I'm out. Peace out.